And we actually had gotten to the point where we had created a purchase order, and we were looking to receive the lines, and we were trying to track down the purchase order, how to do the goods receipt. And what had apparently had happened was the screen layout from what is in the script is a little different than the screen layout that we get when we access the system. But I think I've got it sorted out. So let's walk through it and see what we can do. Okay, so we're going to go out to our system. We're going to select client 460. I'm going to click log on. Okay, so we are back onto the SAP system. So let's look at our Word document here. For our purchasing. All right, so we logged on. We're not going to worry about setting the defaults. I think we can work our way through that. So we'll actually go, what we're going to start on is the page with our purchase order cycle. I think it's on starts on page 5. All right, so we're going to go logistics, material management, purchasing, purchase requisition, create. All right, so we're going to create a requisition. So we're going to go logistics, materials management, purchasing, purchase requisition, create. Sometimes you have to double click it. All right, so I got this. Let's go back to our instructions. All right. What we're going to do is we're going to select the material. All right, so what we'll do is we'll go to our material field, which is here, and we will click our lookup. And what we will do is we will look for material number, material description. Let's take a look at this, confirm what we're going to look at. Because don't forget, there's a whole slug of different queries we can do. All right, so we want to do material number, material description, and we want to enter our number. Mine's going to be 99. Yours will be whatever your number is, star. All right, which is what we call a wild card, which basically tells the system, give me everything that begins with 99. Okay, so we have our materials here. So what we're going to do is we're going to purchase. Let's go back to our scenario here. And we have our list of materials. So what we're going to do is we're going to select oats, and we're going to select wheat germ. Okay, those are the two materials we're going to purchase. So we're going to do oats. And wheat germ. These are the two products we're going to buy. Now we can buy these things from different organizations, but we'll just we'll start off with this now. So we got two materials, and what we want to do is we're going to want to enter $44,000 for oats. Storage location 100. 2,000 for the wheat germ. So 44,000, 2,000. So our quantity is going to be 44. And just to confirm, that's going to be 2,000. All right. Now what it'll ask for is where our delivery date is going to be 2 weeks out. I'll make it May 5th. Now the plant becomes, now if you take a look here, what you'll have is, when I did the select on it, what you can do is define your plant. Let's do our lookup. So I'll do my 99, you will do yours. So 99 pound. All right, if I select that, oops. Okay, I think we have one down here, 99 PT. Plant will be 99 PT on both. Okay, and if you'll note, it will, I think our storage location will be 100 on both, which tells us where in the warehouse or where we'll go. So both of these are raw materials. All right, so there's, you see a little bit of difference there, but material group, it's raw and semi-finished materials. All right. Rows, to use SAP terms, Rows and Haubs, which is actually German for raw and semi-finished. All right, so I've got those. So I think we have everything. So material has been retrieved. So we've brought a bunch of stuff back in too. So it looks like we're moving along here. Okay, so what we're going to do is let us process this. All right, so what I want to do is we will save it. And what it'll do is it'll give us a number here. So we want to save this number at the bottom. All right, because in case, for example, we have a problem trying to find where we've got some data, we have the ability to go back and look it up. All right, so let me write this down. So it's going to be 0, 0, 1. That's 5. 46. And let me just make sure that's 5. 1. Yeah, so it should be 0. Mine is going to be 0, 0, 1, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 46. Yours will be different. All right, so you hold on to that so we can come back and we can actually enter that number as we're moving along here. All right, so we created the requisition. So let's actually create the purchase order from the requisition. All right, so in this case, what we're going to do is we're going to go logistics, materials, purchasing, purchase order, create, vendor unknown. So from here we can go exit. We'll go up 1 to purchase order. purchase order create, and it's going to ask us from purchase order, we'll say vendor unknown, and what it'll do is we can say copy requisition. So we take a look, let's take a look what our instructions say here. So the purchasing group is going to be 99B, all right, which is our number. Then we'll click on copy a requisition. Once again, mine is 99B, yours will be whatever yours is, and then we'll say copy the requisition because we already have one. And I got two options here. I can actually enter. We can do a lookup. If I want to go through that, or what I can do is I can simply go. I can actually just enter my requisition number. So I'm not gonna. We'll head this off at the pass. 001. So mine is 46. Okay, that's my requisition. Okay, so I now have, so it's brought everything over. So the whole idea is we don't want to have to do this, re-enter the same data 2 or 3 or 4 times. All right, so we got that. So that's if you wanted to look it up using the requisition number, but we're looking for that, but I actually just did it with the actual information. All right, now what you have to do here is as we're bringing these things over, we need to select the materials off the requisitions and then click adopt. All right, that's because we're using a requisition. So we'll come here, we'll select this one, and we'll say adopt. All right, so that's when it'll bring it over to the purchase order. Because theoretically, I can have a requisition that has a whole bunch of stuff, but I'm only going to buy 2. Just because it's on the requisition doesn't mean we're actually going to buy it. Okay, so now a couple fine tunings we want to do here. So now we're going to pick the vendor. We're going to select the vendor. We're going to, or as we would say here, the assigned source of supply. All right. So in that case, we will come back here. Assign source of supply up here. So what we'll do is I'll select both lines, and then we assign the source of supply, which is a fancy way of saying pick the vendor. All right, so what it asks us to do is buy it from Oshimo Oats. All right, so we selected that. And as I said, what we can do is we can look at all the different. This is built for the person in the purchasing department, so we can figure out, well, who's got the best price. We're just assuming it's going to be. We're assuming it's going to be Oshimo Oats in our case, so we're not going to do the pricing. Like our brother-in-law works for Oshimo Oats, we'll just give the purchase order down, which is probably not ethical, but we'll it shall work for us. All right, so we selected that. And then we will generate the purchase order. So we'll select that for both. All right, so that's been selected. And so we've created. So we've actually have created. I think we've got almost everything here. So we've got a vendor. Now we want to generate the purchase order. Now what happens is that depending upon the type of interface, you have this fancy little red thing here. In our case, all we have is this little generate purchase order. Boom. Oh, it's going to ask us to select it. Then we're going to generate the purchase order. And we've actually got requisitions here. Let's take a look at what I have here. Let's go back to our directions as we're going through this. Now we'll get to a screen that looks like this. Right, gotcha. So open requisition and click the adopt. So it's kind of an awkward interface here, but we work our way through this. All right, so it's a little awkward, but it works. Okay, so we've got that. So the way this works will be, if we take a look at this again, just so before we move this along, we can have what we call the header, the purchase order header, which has the details about kind of the overall order itself. And then we have the details of the individual items we select. All right. All right, so we've got this. Let's see what else we need. I think we should be ready. So we can, once again, we can look at the conditions to see what the pricing is. So at any point we can go through and basically run a simulation of what the pricing is going to be. So we'll know what we want to do. Now there'll be a warning message because we don't have anything to print. All right. Or we don't have any printers, but that should be fine for our purposes here. All right, so what we're going to do is we want to save this. System message issued. You want to save the document or process data. We want to save the document. And what it's going to create is a number here, our purchase order number, which is going to be, in my case here, going to be 45, and it looks like the 6. 41. So this is where we got hung up last time. But we want this number, so it's 45, 6 zeros, 41. All right, let's go to our directions. Now we'll do the receipts. So now we're going to actually change. So I can exit here. So now we're going to change. So we're actually going to get out of the material. We're no longer in the material management side of things. We're now going to be in the logistics side. All right, which is basically a different section of the organization. Right. So in this case, we're going to go to materials management, inventory management. Sorry about that. Logistics, materials management, inventory management. Inventory management. Goods movement. Goods receipt. For goods receipt for purchase order. I'll say PO number known. Actually, I can use either one, but we'll use this one. So what I did was, go back here, show you what I did. Actually, I'll come back in. No. So I'm going to do GO for purchase order number. All right, and if I do a click here, it will show me it should show me my purchase order number. All right, now the other thing I can do is I can actually enter this number here. If I take this here, it'll basically do the same thing. All right, so it brings it over. So what we'll do is we'll process each line. If we take a look, it'll show us the vendor, right, the general information. So what happens is the material's coming in. The materials is coming from a vendor. So we need now to put it into a location. All right, so the trick is you need to track every transaction, because obviously if the goods come in and nobody knows where it's at, then then the party begins. So what you want to do is, as we go through, enter our purchase order. So we can get so I believe all we need to do here is click post. All right, so what this will do, this will post the items. Oh, sorry about that. So you have to do this process where you select each line and you say it's okay. Once you've got two that are okay, we then say post. All right, now what we're going to do is now we're going to get information. We're going to get this new document we've created. Which is going to be 5, and it looks like how many zeros is that? 7 zeros? 29. 29. Okay. So this is a record of the material as it was brought in. Okay, so we now have our material records with the material, and it depends on what, there's a lot of different scenarios you have with material movement. So what will happen is, say for example, you bring something in, like if you get a goods receipt, you may have to run it through quality checking. You might need to, if it's a return, you might want to put it in some sort of block stock to be run tests on and verified before you do a receipt. There's a whole bunch of different things that could possibly happen. All right, but we're doing it pretty simple. We're doing a straight line. All right, so we've done our material document. Now we're going to verify the receipt. So we do logistics, materials management, inventory management, environment, stock, and stock overview. So do an exit. So logistics, material management, inventory management. Let's see. So inventory management, environment, stock, and stock overview. It's going to be environment, stock, stock overview. All right. So we've got that. Let's take a look at the steps we'll go through. So what I can do is use the search to find pound oats for the material. So it's going to be 99 space oats and then 99 PT for the plant. All right. So the material is going to be and this one's going to be 99 PT. Oops. So 99 PT, which is the plant number. And what we should see when we press return on this, or I can say execute. Let's see, 99 oats does not exist. It doesn't like that. One sec. Do 99 star. Okay, that'll find it. Okay, and if I come down here, you can see the 44 or 44,000, which is what we've received. Unrestricted use. And you see all these different other uh, statuses: quality inspection, returns, transfer, consignment, all sorts of different business scenarios. But our case is we got 44,000 of whatever this is, pounds of oats. All right, so I got that. Let me do an exit here. So now that I've done that, now we can go to the financial side. So this is where the accounting comes into play. So now we're going to go to a whole different area. We're going to go to accounting, financial accounting, general ledger, account display, balances. So accounting, financial accounting. So accounting, financial accounting. Make sure we general ledger account display. General ledger account display. Exactly what we got here. Display balances. New. So doing a display balances. New. All right, so we'll use 200,000 200,000 for the GL account, 99 FS for our um, company code. 200,000. And we already have the 99 FS. I'll do an execute. All right, so now what we see is we now owe 9,400, which is really what the value of the purchase order was. All right, so now it's on our books as something we have to pay, or this will end up going to our accounts receivable, accounts payable at some point. You may get a different value if. So the ERP systems recorded the physical receipt of the purchase order, but it also made the update simultaneously to our goods receipt, which is on the financial side. So before we had an ERP system, before we had all this integration, what would happen is you do the physical receipt, people would write it down, they would then send it over to the general ledger, and they would be entered there. So this all happens in one shot. Now we're going to do an invoice receipt. So there's going to be logistics, materials management, invoice, logistics, invoice verification. So we'll exit this. So logistics, materials management, logistics invoice verification. Which is going to be right here. Close that. And then it's going to ask us to, I believe it's document entry. Yep, document entry, and then enter invoice. Document enter, and enter the invoice. All right, now it asks us here to enter today's date for the invoice date, and then 9,400 for the amount. And then click on the search icon for the field for the purchase order scheduling agreement. Okay, so let's do one thing at a time here. Today's date, 4/21. Amount, 9,400. And click on the search icon in the field next to purchase order scheduling, which is down here, down below. All right, so that is, as we see, that's down here. So we'll do our search on this. And it's going to ask us for a couple different ways we can do this. Possible entries for purchasing document. So what it can do is for the vendor, we'll go Oshimo Oats, and then our company code. So we can say vendor. Do a 99 star. Let's see. I believe that is going to be the second one here. All right, and we found our vendor. All right. And then 99FS, and I think that's right. A little bit different on the user interface, but we'll say do an enter on this, and it's going to give us a pop-up here. So I think it's a little bit different. Okay, a little bit of a, I think I did a little bit of a different twist on this. vendor. Company code, execute, get the following screen, possible entries. I think I took a little bit of a different path here. What I can do is since I have the purchase order, we can actually enter this with the purchase order number. Which is going to be 45. Which is our purchase order number. And then come up here. Once I do that, I enter my purchase order number, and I see post up here. Right. So what you can do is, way to do this would be take what you've written down as your purchase order number, and it should pop up with the vendor. Click post, and it will recreate. Oh, still contains messages. Oh. What's the messages? Balance not zero, 9,400 dots, check invoice document. So this will not let us post this, maybe? Yeah. So it doesn't like something here. Let's do long text. Yeah, so it will not let us clear that. I thought that was done. Yeah, I don't think it's going to let me post it. Yeah, it still contains messages. So as you can see, this is very precise. Discover errors, warning message, information that has not been displayed on the screen. Error messages. Yeah, so for some reason, So I'm trying to enter the invoice and it says it's got a zero balance and it needs to create a hmm. What if I grabbed the wrong one? All right, let me go back real quick here. Just double check our work. So we need to verify the invoice receipt. We'll go back to our goods receipt. What I think I might have done is I might have grabbed the wrong purchase order number because I had two purchase orders out here. If I grabbed the wrong one and I haven't received it, hang on. Inventory management, goods movement, goods receipt. Yeah, hang on. Ah, I think I found my problem. What I had is I've actually created two work orders. I created two purchase orders, one from last week, one from this week. Um, I want to receive these two. All right, I got my OK, and then I can post it, and it'll generate a new material number, which is going to be number 30. And it would have doubled all my inventory because it was the second order. So let's come back here and see if we can create an invoice against it. All right, so once again, what we're going to do here is logistics invoice verification, enter invoice. And what I will do is look for 421. Purchase order number 41. It found it. So I think if I let's post it now, see what it does. Invoice item still contains messages. All right, well, I think the problem I've had is, let me do this. Let's see if I can post this one. No, all right. For some reason, we got something hosed up on this. Basically, I think if you can get this far, we'll be pretty good. Because the only thing we'd have to do now is do the banking. But I think we're good. If you can get this far, and we'll see how far you can push it. All right, I'm going to continue to kind of work with this a bit. All right. We'll get as far as you can with it. I'll go back and I'll do some digging. I'm going to do a little bit more digging on this and see if I can sort out what happened with the orders. I think what happened was I put the order in last week, an identical order, and I received one, but not the other. So what's happened is I have to go through and have to process everything. I have to process everything through. I have to do the goods receipt on everything, and then things should flow through then. But let me go back and do some digging on this. All right, but if you can follow what we've got so far, we can use that as our we'll kind of use that as our exercise. All righty.